Yo, what's going on, everybody? What is going on? It is your main man, Brax B, and you are tuned into another episode of Lay It On Me. Listen, I am your host, Brax B, and thank you for tuning in, listening, and watching to see what we have to say today. This episode is going to be a phenomenal one, just as always. We're going to have a great episode today, man. I wanted to shift a little bit because I wanted the new members or the new followers of the Brax B community to know who I am, what I do, and how I do it, right? And this episode today is going to be me being being very hot with you, all right? Honest, open, and transparent about, like I said, who I am, what I do, and why I do it, all right? And what this podcast is designed to do is to highlight business owners from all over the Richmond area and surrounding cities, and just highlight their stories, their journeys of where they are and how they got to where they are today, and the things that have shaped them into the beautiful people that they are, right? And so, what other way to do that than to highlight the person who is asking the questions? All right. So I reached out to a few of you all in the Brax B community already to see if y'all had any questions for me, and we definitely have some for sure. And we're going to get to those just a little bit later. But for now, we're just going to talk about some ground rules and some things that are important to why this podcast came to fruition and why it is here right now. And you all are being able to view this. This is such a thing that God has placed on my heart and my mind to birth to you all. All right, it's been a dream, it's been a vision, it's been in multiple conversations with God and myself about what it is, my purpose in this time in life to serve those who need something. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than me. So I'm just following the direction of God and doing everything that He has told me to do. And I believe that right now is a great time to do this. And I'm super excited, super duper excited, man, because I was actually watching a show. Not sure if you all are familiar, but it's called Alone. And they're in the wilderness of the Arctic Circle, if you will, for this season. And one of the contestants, he was just talking about where he was from and his journey and all of the things, and how he always was trying to audition for the show and do this and do that to get on the show, to be a contestant, to try and win this certain amount of money. And he had mentioned at this one point in time, and he finally was able to get on the show, and he said, it's truly a blessing, but sometimes the blessing can be a curse if it's not the right timing. And so that is so indicative of what many of us as entrepreneurs and business owners go through. All right, it may be something that God has told us, it may be something that God has placed on our heart, but we may feel that it's not the right time, and so we might think of it as a curse. All right, but we all know that God has placed something special inside of all of us. And so we just have to remain confident and focused on Him for Him to lead our path, and to make sure that we are doing the things that we need to do, and making sure that we are doing this to glorify Him, right? And not out of self ambition, right? So as we continue to go on through this session today, I want to highlight some things that are going to be very key, all right, to other entrepreneurs who may be watching this, other business owners who may hear this, or they may want to share with somebody who knows they are in a similar circumstance or situation that may not be as ideal as they want it to be in their life right now. The business might be running, but it might not get the profit that they're looking for. They might not get the revenue. They might not get the following. All of those things go through the mind of an entrepreneur or business owner. Like, am I doing enough? Or Am I doing too much? Right? Those are all questions that come about, and I want to be able to highlight those things today to help somebody keep the needle moving forward. All right, because there are some situations in my entrepreneurial journey that I wanted to just throw it all away. There are some advice that was given to me that I didn't take, I didn't like, or whatever the case may be. There's some advice that I got now that I didn't get before when I first started. And you always hear if I knew now what I knew, if I knew then what I knew now, a lot of things would be different. All right, but my mentor had always told me if one thing was different, then everything would be different. So I always look at it as being in the present and acknowledging the present and being okay with that and accepting what is going on right now. All right. And so that's one of the main things that I always talk about, being present, being where your feet are. Right. And I know you've probably heard that before, but I've been intentional with like being present where my feet are. And it's it's important to do that because you don't want to have your mind somewhere else where it's needed right where you are. Okay? That takes away from whoever may need that. For example, if my mind is on whatever and I have children that need me at this particular moment, I need to be where they are. I need to be where I am so I can give them the attention, the love, the emotional balance, the emotional sacredness that they need from dad to be there, right? So being intentional with being where your feet are, that's one of the most important things as a business owner. You don't want to put yourself in a position to where you're compromising different aspects of your life, right? We all always hear the work-life balance. I don't really much agree with the word balance. What I tend to agree with or I tend to use is a rhythm, work-life rhythm. All right. When you have a rhythm, it just goes, right? And sometimes the rhythm might be off a little bit. All right. Sometimes you might be smooth sailing. It all depends on the day. And if you're an entrepreneur, you've been in the game for 5+ years, you already know. All right. Those things do happen. And it's going to happen. So how do you react, or how do you respond rather to what happens in your business or in your life rather? Response versus reaction is always something that is very, very important to me as well, because how you respond to something shows the emotional maturity that you have when it comes to certain circumstances. Okay, as opposed to reacting with a immature mindset, right? If you react with an immature mindset, then there are some things that can go even more wrong if you don't have the right response to that. So that is another thing that I'm thinking about as we go through this episode. I want to get to these questions so bad because these are some great questions, but I'm going to hold off because I want to talk to you a little bit more about um, what it means to be an entrepreneur this day and age. All right, this time where everybody is looking for something to add value to their life. Whatever space that you're in, I strongly believe as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, your your goal is to add value to whoever you come in contact with. That's your goal, right? Aside from pleasing God and making sure everything is done in the will of God, adding value to anyone else's life that you come in contact with is your main goal. And however you do that, whether it be some type of consulting or whether it be some type of physical activity, whether it be videography, photography, whatever the case may be, like whatever you do, make sure that you're adding value and make sure that you're doing it to the glory of God. By first of all, because that is where you get all the strength from. That's where you get all the knowledge from. That's where you get all the wisdom, all right, all the provision. All of that comes from God. So the first thing that you must do is make sure that everything that you are doing is honoring God, and that is highly important when it comes to being a business owner. Like I said, adding value is one of the things that um, I thought of when I started this business, and now it's Brax and Enterprises. Just to give you a brief overview of what it is now. Brax and Enterprises is a consulting firm, and what we do is we assist individuals to accomplish personal and professional goals through goal setting, action planning, and strategic management. And that's through education consulting, that's through mentorship, that's through sports psychology, like all of the things encompassed in one when it comes to mentorship and consulting. That's what Brax and Enterprises is all about. And um, I'm blessed, I'm fortunate to have um, a great team with me to make sure that this vision gets put out. And I'm very fortunate enough also to have family that's supportive. I'm um, I'm blessed to have those who aren't family to be very supportive, pushing me. When they see me out, they give us some type of words of encouragement, um, or whether we're um, in intimate places, small places, they see me out, whatever the case, and they just give me love, just give me support, and they just continue to build on what it is that I'm doing, and they show that gratitude that they're excited to see that I'm doing what I'm doing, because it is touching somebody. And that's what's most important. As long as it's touching at least one person, right? That's really all that matters. Like, I can go out and I can touch millions and millions of people, but as long as I touch one person, right? That's what really matters the most. And I'm so fortunate to be in this position to share with so many people already, all across the globe, through my motivational speaking, through my life coaching, um, being an author. Man, that's being an author of two books. One is an international seller. The first book is Stay on the Tracks, The Journey of Patience and Perseverance. And it's a self-help slash motivational piece that encourages individuals to not throw in the towel so quickly, not to just give up when things aren't going the way that you want them to go. All right, it's talking about being tenacious. It's talking about persevering, being resilient, even though what I want is not what shows right now. I still have to push through. There's a reason for me to go through this whatever this bit of resistance to get to where I'm going. So that's what that book is about. And then my second book is You Got This, the Student Trifecta for Academic Achievement. That book is designed specifically towards student athletes. And I did that because I grew up as a student athlete for a number of years. And so I wanted to write something or produce something that gave student athletes a playbook, if you will, that will help them through all of the trials and tribulations through being a student athlete. All right, the grades, the social life, the sports, all of the things. I wanted to give them something that helped me get through and matriculate through um, elementary years all the way through the collegiate years and on to the professional level. Like, it gave me those things, and it highlights confidence, choice, and character. All right, those are the three C's in that book, and it has touched a lot of student athletes' lives already. And I'm looking forward to having it touch more lives of student athletes as they continue to grow, because student athletes aren't slowing down. All right, everybody loves sports. Everybody is going to be in education at some point. So combine the two, giving them that resource for them to just understand what it means to have confidence, make great choices, and develop their character on a daily basis. That's what's most important when it comes to being a top-notch student athlete. So being an author, man, is one of those things I did not expect it at all. Highly unexpected. And I came back from South America, my first stint of playing professional basketball overseas, and I just started writing, and it just started coming to me, and I was just thinking like, all right, this is something that I could use to help the next generation of student athletes to get them through whatever it may be. All right, there are a lot of student athletes that go through performance anxiety. They go through confidence issues. They go through um, not making the right choices due to peer pressure, right? And so that resource is something that helps them somewhat, right, along the way to make those right choices, to gain that confidence, and to practice, and hone in on that craft, so they can become better, not just at sports, but as a human being as well, right? And so, um, again, blessed to have the opportunity to write that and write those two books. And there's a third project that is on the way. So y'all be on the lookout for that, man. It's coming. It's in the works. I wanted to make sure that this one is going to be a little bit longer than the other two productions, because there's a lot that I want to put into this project. So I'm going to take my time with this one and make sure that it is pushed out in God's timing, and I'm not rushing anything, to make sure that y'all have everything that y'all need. Right? Okay. Um, yeah, there's one more thing that I want to get to before I cover these questions that y'all sent me. And again, these questions are these questions are really good. So it's going to take a majority of time for me to get through those questions and answer them. But the one thing that I do want to say before I get to those questions is, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, um, one of the things that we must always remember is not to give up. Stay committed, right? Stay committed to the cause. Stay committed to the mission statement that you wrote in your business plan, right? Stay committed to the vision that you have for your business. Like, and like I said previously, this is this is not just about you. This is for whoever your target market is, whoever you would like to reach, whoever you would like to impact. This is who that's for. Yeah, yes, it's for you. You created the business. You took the time. You put the energy, blood, sweat, tears. Listen, yes, blood, sweat, and tears. But this is bigger than you. God has called you to this for a reason. And and at such a time as this, whatever God has placed on your heart and you made the decision to go through and follow through with that, this is a calling. This is a calling. I When I was younger, on being an entrepreneur was like the thing for me. Now, when I was younger, I didn't know what entrepreneurship was. All I knew is I wanted to do something that made people happy, and I was able to have some benefit from that as well. So there's a win-win situation. And when I was younger, I played drums. And I still do. I still play drums every once in a while. But playing drums was that thing for me. And I played drums from age 7 all the way up to now. And I've made a lot of people in the church, I've made them happy. I've made them feel blessed. I've made them have multiple reactions to the God given talent that was given to me to play drums at such a young age, and to do it at the level that I did. And I'm just blessed and fortunate to do that because, like I said, I've always wanted to be my own boss. I always wanted to work for myself and do what I wanted to do to add value to other people's lives, like to make other people laugh, make other people happy. That's what I did, right? And so playing drums was that thing for me at the time. Okay. And it's one thing to know at such a young age what you want to do and how you want to do it. That's very important because that lets you know, that's a clear indication of, all right, this is what I want to do, how I'm going to do it, and how can I continue this as I get older? How can I add value to more people's lives even beyond this stage right here? The next stage, how can I touch more lives? And the next stage, how can I touch more lives? Right? And it's all about serving. All right. It's all about serving. All right. And one of the biggest things that I say all the time is servitude over selfishness. Servitude over selfishness. Again, it's not just about me. It's not just about you. It's how much can you serve? How much are you willing to serve? And is that going to be sustainable, right? Like a lot of people who want to get into business, they do it because they think it looks cool, or they think it's the way to go. It's the new wave, right? But everybody's not cut out for business ownership. Everybody's not cut out to be an entrepreneur because it takes a lot. It takes so much time, it takes so much energy, it takes so much um, emotional and mental fortitude to keep this thing going at a steady pace, even though you don't get the results that you want to get in a given time frame, right? So again, knowing what you want to do, knowing how you want to do it, being able to serve and add value, those are the key components of entrepreneurship and being a business owner that I feel strongly is going to help you keep going whenever you feel like you want to throw in that towel or you want to give up, like, oh, this isn't working. No, this isn't working. This isn't working. Like, you got to keep going. You got to remember why you started. Like, and y'all hear all the time, remember your why. Remember your why. I'm not going to prolong that too much because you've heard it before. So I'm not going to belabor that point. But staying committed to the vision, staying committed to the vision, even when it's ugly, stay committed to it. And that is the thing, mentally speaking, that's the mindset that you have to have as a business owner. All right, not just as a business owner, as a person in general. Like, make sure that my mental is strong enough to handle whatever comes my way. And do I have a community? Do I have someone who I can talk to and reach out to help me with this if I'm not able to do it on my own? That's another component of it as well. Community is super duper important. All right, when I started this whole business thing, it's like I tried to do it alone, but I was like, this ain't working. This ain't working, right? So I started to reach out and find out who is in the same space mentally, who's in the same space of what am I doing? Who can I reach out to? Who's done what I'm wanting to do right now? I'm striving to do this thing. Who's been in that place before? And how can they help me? How can I get to them by them helping me so I can be the best version of what God has placed in my heart at the time to go ahead and make that move, right? So community, mentorship, all of the things, all of those things are important. And like I said, like this is going to, you have to go back and replay this because there's a lot of information as business owners and entrepreneurs that you're going to need to, again, continue to move the needle forward. And I think that tonight is very special because these questions that are coming up in a second are going to give way and give light to what I really mean by all of this, which I prefaced. All right. So again, first, before I start, thank you to everybody in the Brax B community who sent these questions. It's God, I hear you. Not ironically, but it's 7 questions. It's 7 questions that the Brax B community sent me because some of the questions were duplicates. So I just narrowed them down, and it's 7 questions. And so I'm going to go through these, and I'm going to answer them, and then we're going to wrap it up, and we're going to be out of here. All right. Um, um, First question is, what made you want to start your business? Like I said, at an early age, I always wanted to do something non-traditional. Like I didn't want to work for anybody. I didn't want to go find a job. I didn't go work on a grocery store bag. I didn't want to do any of that. Right. I wanted to do my own thing so I can make my own money. Right. And so in doing that, I learned a lot. I learned of logging in hours. I've learned in time management. I learned in being consistent. I learned in execution and output. All of the things that come with being a business owner. That in order to get what you want in the long run, you have to do the other things that get you to this process or get you to this product rather, right? And so being on time, being committed, like communicating with whomever, like I'm running late or I'm not going to be there, or whatever the case may be. Like all of those small things that lead up to the finished product is what helps you to become a better business owner. Um, and then, like I said, making me want to start this when I came back from overseas after finishing playing up professional basketball, it was something that I wanted to do that was still along the lines of coaching and teaching, but I didn't have to. I didn't have to answer to anybody, right? So I'm like, all right, what can I do to add value to other people's lives, and how can I do that at a large scale? I love to help people. I love to make people happy. I love to see a process go from beginning to end. And I like to help in the middle to see how we can fill that gap in if there are anything that needs to be fixed or adjusted, right? And so I started looking up, going on life coaching and motivational speaking. And I'm like, wow. So I looked up all of these things, and it was like, um, helps people with changing their lives, altering their mindsets, and all of these different things that came within. And I'm just like, wow, this is it, life coaching, motivational speaking. And I looked it up. I was like, I don't see too many people doing life coaching, right? And and sure enough, as soon as I started my business as being a certified life coach, all I see is life coaches now. All I see is life coaches now. I'm like, all right, where was all y'all like just a few months ago? Like I haven't seen y'all. But that's what happens. It's like when you're looking for a new car, right? And you go and you have your vision of what car you want. Now every time you're driving, you see that same car all the time, every single day. So that's pretty much what it was like for me with life coaching. As soon as I uh, locked in on this is what I want to do, this is how I want to do it, I started seeing more and more of it, and it just kept growing. It just kept growing, and so like I said, me wanting to start this business, doing things the way I wanted to do it, help people, have time for my family, and just have the time, the freedom of time and location, like all of those things. I just can do whatever I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it, add value to other people's lives, and produce for my family, take care of my family in the way that I wanted to, right? And so that was pretty much the premise of what made me want to start my business. Um, Second question If you didn't start this business, what do you think you would be doing instead? When I saw this question, I had no earthly idea on how I was going to answer this. Um, if I didn't start this business, I think I would be, which is wild enough. I'd probably be in the interior design space and world. That was initially my thought process of a major when I was thinking about going to college. I wanted to be interior design. I love decorating things. I love things being so neat and sleek. Like I I really don't like clutter. So like interior design, putting the colors together, lining everything up, and just putting things together. Interior design was like my thing. And so the college that I went to, shout out to Virginia Union University, um, they didn't have interior design as a major, so I ended up going with marketing. Um, and so, but yeah, interior design would be the space that I would be in if I didn't start this business for sure. Next question is how do you stay disciplined or motivated when things get slow or uncertain? This is good. Remember when we talked about being committed or staying committed to the vision, to the mission, to the purpose? Like that's how. Like I know who I'm doing this for, right? There are a lot of people who God has placed in my life that I'm responsible for. That I have the responsibility of making sure that they are taken care of, and as long as there's breath in my lungs, I'm going to make sure that I'll take care of them. So when things are slow or when things are uncertain, I still have to remember I have these people counting on me, right? I have these people counting on me. And so I can't just give up, because if I give up, there are others who are going to suffer from that, right? And so it's not a thing of being motivated, right? Because you're not going to be motivated 100% of the time. That's just a given. Yes, I'm a motivational speaker, and you're like, that's crazy for him to say that, but it's the truth, right? Even as a motivational speaker, for me, I'm not motivated all the time. That's where discipline kicks in. That's where knowing what you want to do and what you said you were going to do becomes important. That's where the discipline part of it comes in. Like it's look at it as an athlete, right? A student athlete. All right, let's go collegiate level, right? Collegiate level athletes, they have early track days, early training room days, long days of working out, workouts, film sessions, training tables, the whole nine, the class, all of the things, right? But they made that decision before they got to that university or that college. They signed a paper that said that they are going to be committed to whatever is entailed in this process. And so now the days that are early, the 5 a.m.s, the 4 a.m.s, where you don't feel like getting up, you're not motivated to get up at 4 a.m. all the time. That's where the discipline kicks in. So that same analogy for these student athletes is the same analogy that I use now as a business owner, all right, as a person, as a father. Like I have to have that discipline to make sure that I'm doing what I said I was going to do long before that initial feeling of whatever is gone now. Like I have to be disciplined and uphold my end of the bargain, because I said I was going to do this, so we're going to get it done, right? And so that's where that comes when. If it's slow or uncertain, cool. Still stick to the process. All right, still stick to the process. And sometimes it happens. All right, the process is going to change. process is going to change. There are some things that's going to differ, but the goal should always remain the same. The goal should always remain the same. This next question is ties right into this one. It says, how do you pivot, or how do you know when it's time to pivot your routine or your perspective in your business or in your journey? Now, pivoting on a routine, for me, I strongly feel that's a non-negotiable. My routine is my routine, right? It's a very drawn out routine, right? When I'm in it, I'm in it, and it's early wake up and get my things done, get the meditation, get the reading, get the devotion, um, get the water, get all of the things, right? And this routine is all across the board every single day. All right. Except for those days where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just take a rest day. Because those days do happen, right? But the routine, making a pivot in the routine, not really something that I would agree to. All right. Well, with school and how the hours change in the summer, that may differ. All right. But for the majority of it, the routine stays the same. Now, my perspective on business, and then when to make the pivot. All right. That's where it becomes a very calculated decision. And I say that because, take for example, again, I'm a sports guy, so I can use these sports analogies all day long. All right, basketball. If I'm right-handed and I'm making right-handed layups 20 in a row, 30 in a row, whatever the case may be, and then I go and miss 4 or 5 left-handed layups, that there needs to be a shift in my thinking, because as I get older, the levels of defense are going to start to get a little bit tougher. I'm going to need to be able to use both hands. All right, so I can't just use my right hand, or else I'm going to get exposed. All right, so now I need to shift and try to use my left hand. I need to start dribble with my right hand. If I'm strong with my right hand, I need to be able to dribble with my left hand. All right, same thing. If I can make a shot from 10, 15 feet, all right, and people start picking up on that, I need to be able to pump fake or go back behind a three-point line, whatever the case may be. When certain things become super duper easy or super duper, I guess you can say routine, that's when you need to make a shift, right? And it's the same thing in business. When I know, okay, I can do this. I can do this with my eyes closed. I can do that with my eyes closed. Now, what can I do that's going to challenge me to take my business to the next level or the next dimension? What can I do, or what room can I go in to where I'm not the smartest person there? That's when we know the shift in perspective has to change with business. When things get to the point to where you can do them with your eyes closed, now we know we can move on, because we've mastered it, right? And once we've mastered something, we can always tweak it, we can make it better, but there's also something else that we need to learn. There's always room for growth, there's always room for learning. And again, once you get to that place, it's time to shift your perspective on, oh, this is easy, this is easy, this is easy. Now it's time to level up. We got to make an adjustment to what we've been doing so we can get greater results. We don't want to try to keep getting the same results. We're winning by 10, that's cool. Win by 12, that's fine. But I want to start winning by 20. I want to start winning by 30. So what do I have to do? How much deeper do I need to dig so I can win games by 30 now? Because I want to put pressure on whoever. I want to challenge myself to get better within business. And so how do I do that, right? And So that's how you know when things start to become very easy to where you can do it with your eyes closed, or you can do it without looking, whatever the case. Like that's when you know that your shift in perspective needs to take place. Um, these last three questions. These last three. What advice did you take at the start of your entrepreneurial journey that you regret? This is a tough one. This is a tough one um, because this is 6 years, 6 years going, um, and there's been a lot of advice that I've been given along the way up to now, and I think one of the craziest pieces of advice that I've received early on was to label myself as an expert. And I I listened to that advice and I tried it and it backfired on me big time because it's very difficult to say that you are 1 year into whatever it is that you do and you're an expert. Very difficult. Very difficult to back that up. And I tried it and it backfired on me. And if anyone were to ever ask me, should I label myself an expert in my first year? My answer is going to be absolutely not. Because no one in their first year is an expert at anything. No one. No one. And I tried it because, again, I felt that this person was a reputable source in the space. So I was going off what they had done. And I came to realize years later, it's like I'm I it's difficult for me to compare my year one to their year 10 or 12 at that time. And I was like, this. I saw what they were trying to say, but me mentally thinking, I'm like, I'm a logical person. 1 year expert, not it. But I tried it anyway, and again, wasn't a good result, and I highly regret that making that decision. I regret making that decision. However, I'm glad I did make that decision because now it has helped me to grow and to know what I shouldn't tell someone who's coming up behind me what they should do when it comes to doing certain things for their business, right? And so that was one of the biggest pieces of advice that I totally regret on my journey so far. How do you balance working a 9 to 5 while building your business? Again, the whole balance word when it comes to work life is a little sketchy for me, right? So I'm gonna say it's more of a rhythm type of thing. Um, what I do now is I want to make sure I don't give away too much. Like it's government contracting, right? I'll say that. So I'm able. The hours are flexible to what I can do, to when I can go in and leave, and all of those things. So it gives me a little bit of leeway to go in early, get off early, and then do what I need to do to make sure that everything is getting right for the business. And going in early, getting off early, I'm able to schedule things that I need to schedule. And so it's like, how much do I need to get done after work that's not going to take up too much of my time with family? How much do I need to get done after work that's not going to take too much time from other things like friends and all of those things, like my social life, right? And so balancing that is it's very um, time consuming. So that's why I'm very big, very big on time management. Right, like the calendar is tight and locked in. I gotta make sure that there are no empty gaps. There are spaces in time to where it's like, all right, cool. Uh, I can get this done. I gotta do this in between. Then I gotta be here. Then I gotta do this. Then I gotta do that. Right. So everything in that kind of like, I'm not a big stickler for wasting time. So that's pretty much how I balance everything. So like the night before, I make sure like everything is planned out. Sometimes it's even days or even weeks before. Like I have everything planned out to where we're leaving at this time. It takes us this however long to get there. This is the event time, and then we'll leave whatever the case may be, and then we'll go from there. So like I'm very, very calculated with time, so I'm not wasting it or throwing away open pockets of where I can be productive somewhere within my business. Um, and this last question, in your journey of entrepreneurship, what is something you would never do again, SA, and what is a productive piece of advice that you could give to others? Whew. Um, one thing that I will never do again, and this is the part that people probably never, a lot of people don't talk about it because they only talk about like what they do, how they do it, all that. They don't talk about the administrative side of things, right? When it comes to paperwork and all those things. One thing I would never do again is to have two different LLCs under two different EINs. Never will I do that again. It's a lot to keep up with, and it's a lot to manage, especially if you don't have somebody managing the books for you, right? And starting out as a business owner, entrepreneur, like you're wearing all of the hats, so you got to make sure this is taken care of, that this is all the things. So making sure that you have one LLC, and then you have however many other businesses, DBAs that you want to do, have them under that umbrella, and you want to source it out and factor it in that way, as opposed to doing multiple LLCs under different EINs. That just makes room for a huge headache when it comes to tax time and paperwork and all of that stuff. So that's one thing that I would never do again. And one productive piece of advice that you could give to others is seek out a mentor. Seek out a mentorship is highly important to me because again, you need someone in the space that has done what you've done. They're reputable and they know how to get you there, and they know what mistakes to help you prevent. So seek out mentorship. Like that for me is the biggest thing. And year one, I was listening to people, found out they weren't reputable. Year three, year four, it started getting to the point where like, all right, these are individuals who are in the space. They have the record to show. They have the track record to show um, how they've added value. They have the track record to show what things that they are doing to help others, and to create a better life for other people, right? And so those mentors now are who I look up to, and look for advice to help me make that adjustment wherever it needs to be made, so I can tweak the things that need to be adjusted, so I can continue to serve the Brax B community as much as possible. All right. And so yeah, man, these this is a very very thought provoking episode today. And again, I thank y'all for listening and watching, man. It's very um, very dope to be able to be in this situation, man, and just have y'all just see the fruits of the labor. Like it's dope. It's dope, and that's all I'm going to say, man. Because um, there was a time where I was questioning if this was something that I really wanted to do. Like it was out there, and I was like, I was trying to tell God, like, nah, this ain't it. No, like I'll just stick to going to go speak here, go speak there, speak. And he was like, nah, I need you, I need you to be the voice to tell my people what's going on. I need you to be another voice to spread the gospel and spread the word of God through the nations. And I'm just being obedient in this stage, this time of life. I'm being obedient to what God has told me to do, and He has put this in my heart, in my spirit, in my mind, and I'm going to continue to follow Him as long as there's breath in my lungs, man. And I'm just going to give all praise and glory to Him and continue to keep this thing rolling, man. So, um, with that, we're going to get wrapped up and get out of here. And um, again, like, subscribe, and share to anybody who's looking to be an entrepreneur, business owner, whatever the case. Like, share it with them. Y'all subscribe, man. And I thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in and watching to hear what I have to say and learning more about Brax and Enterprises, man, because this thing is going to keep on rolling, Lord willing. And you all are the ones that keep all these things rolling, man, and just keep the views going, keep the shares and the likes. I appreciate y'all who have been supportive so far, man. I appreciate y'all to the ultimate max. Um, and just keep on doing what you're doing and do it to the best of your ability and don't give up, because when you make excuses, that exempts you from being extraordinary. All right, man. Y'all take care. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Till next time, I'll holler at y'all. Peace.